Hello, everybody. This is The Last Raider, and we are back with another video. And today we are looking at the stupidity of DC. I predict that this comic is going to fail, and fail spectacular. And the comic I'm talking about here today is Superman, Son of Kal-El. Why is this going to fail? Well, it's going to fail because it has a very piss poor writer going in this. Now, Tom Taylor, I've understood, he did Deceased, which is supposed to be the zombie version of, or the DC version of the Marvel Zombieverse. And I didn't hear anything bad about it, so I'm not saying that he is totally a shit writer. I'm just saying when it comes to lighthearted heroes, he's apparently a shit writer. To give you a bit of a background of what's been going on with Superman in the last couple of weeks, Ethan Van Sciver predicted they would make either a gay Superman or bisexual Superman. Everyone at DC said, oh, that's not going to happen. They turned Jonathan Kent, the son of Superman, who is now Superman, turned him bisexual. So Comicsgate's right there. Then Dean Cain come out and said they were going to remove the American way from Superman's motto. And they said, oh no, that's stupid. They'll never do that. And they removed it and replaced it with For a Better Tomorrow. So Comicsgate's right on two for two right now. So for the 3 for 3, I'm going to predict that this is probably going to run, I'll be generous, I'll say 20 issues before they finally kill it. Simply for the fact of Tom Taylor just does not seem to be able to write. They did this with the first Superman with Brian Michael Bendis, and I don't even think it got to the 20. It might have gotten past 20 issues. I don't know. But Brian Michael Bendis made so many changes to what was already a good story. Everyone liked Jonathan Kent. Everyone liked the dynamic between Superman and his son. They liked the dynamic between Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, which was Superboy and Robin pretty much. And there were people in Comicsgate who liked it. There were people on the left who liked it. It was pretty much universally loved. And then they turned around and turned Damian Wayne gay. And then Brian Michael Bendis they kind of just shut it down for Brian Michael Bendis, and then he turned around and upaged, basically sent Jonathan Kent off with Jor-El, and he got aged up in the process. So Clark Kent misses most of his kid's childhood because his dad wants to be an asshole. Because Brian Michael Bendis decided this was the best idea. This was going to make a good story. And it didn't. It made pointless drama. The book is mostly lackluster action, or it was mostly action that didn't make sense. Right now, we're dealing with a scene right here that is action that doesn't make sense. And the reason I'm pulling this out, this entire explanation, because you have to know all this stuff because Tom Taylor makes fuck ton of mistakes coming in here. It does not matter if you make Jonathan Kent bisexual. It does not matter if you change the moniker of Superman. It doesn't matter if you make Superman black. If your writing is shit, then no one's going to like your book. And you're going to see the writing is shit right here. Mind you, if you look at the screen here, you can see that John Kent is going to Metropolis College. And so, if anyone knows, Metropolis is in Kansas or close to Kansas. It can be seen from, if you go by the show Smallville, Clark can actually see it from the top of the water tower in Smallville. He can actually see the skyline of the city, like the skyscraper sticking out. So he's not that far away. And in the new Superman and Superman and Lois show, that tends to be the same mentality. It's not that far away. It's just several hours away from Smallville, several hours away from Metropolis. So it's like a tiny little jump, maybe a state over, but still in the United States. this is important because Tom Taylor is an Australian who doesn't know jack crap about. The only thing he knows probably about American culture is Coca-Cola and guns. That's about all he knows. That's about what most foreigners know about American culture, unless they really dive into it like Hideo Kojima does. Anyway, you got him coming in. I'm not even going to show the entire book because this first couple of pages shows just how stupid this is. So the scene starts here with Jonathan Kent going to college in a brand new Jeep. He's like, my first day at college with a whole new life. And you see he's going in there, and we see this guy who's going to be the bad guy. Now, he is loading what appears to be a .308 battle rifle. That's very important later because as an American, most Americans in rural communities know this shit. My wife knows this shit. She's not even big into guns. She's from Florida though, so that probably wouldn't be a good example. But anyway, she's also Filipino. I mean, they don't have a problem with guns at all. But anyway, you see him loading stuff in here. Now, this is where Tom Taylor makes his first big mistake as a writer because the purpose, remember when I said they took out the American way out of Superman's moniker? Well, they want to make a Superman more appetizing to a global audience. And they think taking that out is going to do it. It's not going to make much of a difference. Because you see this guy here, he's loading rounds into his gun that say prayers on it. And thoughts and prayers. Okay? This is Tom Taylor watching CNN, seeing them say, well, we're tired of thoughts and prayers. And he is probably becoming a militant atheist if he's an atheist. This is a militant atheist operating. If it's not, it's a really weird form of religion. It's a really weird own on the right of the country, who is mostly religious. And a really, really big mistake to make when you're trying to appeal to an audience, which I would be willing to bet 98% of them are religious. And almost 100% of religions have what's called prayer in it. You are praying to a higher power. And you are making prayer look evil for some reason. Mind you, and this comes from another thing of some people who don't study school shootings. They think that they're just random acts of violence. And there's this idea with the left that, school shootings are random acts of violence. And we just got to take the guns away from these people because there's no way to stop them. No. If you study these things, you'll find these people are disturbed. They have a pattern of behavior. And if you catch it at the beginning, there are plenty of points. And a lot of times school shooters will commit multiple crimes that can immediately, legally knock them out of having a gun in the United States. There are things you can do in the United States. Like some people, like in my state, for instance, it's easy to carry a gun in my state. I have to have no permit. I can carry it concealed or unconcealed. As long as I can conceal the weapon, I am legally able to carry it and move around in most businesses unless it's specifically designated on the door. Here's the thing. You can get knocked out of owning a gun simply by accidentally walking into a gun-free zone. Okay, if you don't look at the door, walk inside, and you get caught with a gun inside of a gun-free zone, which any business can put up a gun-free zone sticker, you can lose all your rights to your guns right there. Most school shooters commit these types of crimes. They'll commit them 3 or 4 times. FBI knows all about it. They do nothing about it. There needs to be like law enforcement reform. But dumb Tom Taylor here thinks, well, he rise in like most people around the world. They're just random shooters, just random psychopaths, just running in there doing stupid stuff because he can't fathom the reason these kids are doing this stuff. And you'll see it in the writing. He doesn't understand why some of these kids do this because they're bullied. Some of them do this because of mental issues. Some of them do this because it's just a mental breakdown. They just have enough. Have you ever seen Karens? Imagine a Karen with an AR-15. Now give her a dick and you've got most of the school shooters in the United States. That's about what it is. It's just someone who's had a mental breakdown. That's what it is, 9 times out of 10. And usually you can stop it before it happens. But here comes Tom Taylor. He's putting thoughts and prayers on this gun because this kid's alt-right. And this is something the alt-right has said. Mind you, why are you loading up the magazine in the car? You can load it up at home. Anyway, going on in here. New start. Sign up for the media department. Superman's wearing a blonde wig and he's got the blue backpack here. Kid still loading the thoughts and prayer rounds into the gun, which have suddenly gotten smaller. If you notice up here, the bullet is almost the size of his thumb. And now it comes in, it's just barely even the size. The whole cartridge is barely the length of his finger, which is an inconsistency. Magazine looks really inconsistent as well. Someone didn't draw that properly. But continuing on to the most stereotypical looking Asian you've ever seen, with the same exact jawline almost as Jonathan Kent. He says, my chance at enemy. By the way, this is Jonathan Kent's boyfriend for anybody who wants to know. Calling himself Finn Connors. This is the best part of this. Kyle. Now, for those of you that are wondering, this is probably a reference to Kyle Rittenhouse, the guy who was attacked by 3 separate people, 2 of which were felons. One of them was a felon with a gun, which in the United States, we have laws specifically against this. The guy that got his bicep blowed off, someone calls him, he's the second place in the in the Kenosha quick draw competition. Got his bicep blowed off, which completely shot the nerves to his hand and he couldn't fire. The guy ran up, and I want people to understand something right now. The what happened with Kyle Kushnev, if you see the video, he runs up to Kyle Kushnev with his hands up. And they say, some people are saying that he tried to act like he was going to administer medical aid and see if he was all right. And then he gets real close, and then he reaches behind him and pulls out the gun to fire, and Kyle managed to get a lucky shot off and blows his arm off. Doesn't kill him. The first 2 people that died, one of them was a felon and a pedophile. He attacked Kyle Kushnev. And Kyle Kushnev was in the process of retreating, and someone off camera, you can see, fires a warning shot in the air. And there's a belief by prosecution and a lot of other people who are self-defense people said, that gunshot at that point would have set off, because then Kyle has to believe this guy has shot at him when you hear the gunshot going off. And so probably went into position. This guy's being aggressive. He hears a gunshot, so he's neutralizing the threat in front of him. He takes off running towards the police. The first guy that comes at him hits him with a skateboard, grabs the gun, and this is how this idiot dies, okay? He grabs the barrel of the gun and pulls a gun that is tied to Kyle Kushnev. It's not coming off. These are idiots that don't know anything about guns. And I know I'm harping on guns, but this is an American culture thing. Pulls on the gun. It points to him. Where does the gun go? Well, you've tied it at the stock. This dude's pulling. It's going to line up with you in the chest area. Kyle just pulls the trigger, blasts the dude in the chest. He kind of flops and hits the ground. Real dumb. Then the second place quick draw champion comes in there. Number 2 quick draw champion of Kenosha comes in there, and then you know how it happens. So we're saying, Kyle, that's not anonymous. Okay. That's probably a political input. It's off turning. Okay. Nobody wants to go to this thing for escape. You don't go to a comic for escapism and want to hear about, real life. So anyway, going on here. This is how you know Tom Taylor is a shit writer when it comes to American culture. Woman goes, Kyle, what the hell are you doing? Where did you get that? In the United States and in Kansas, let me explain something as a Missourian. Kansas and Missouri have a bit of a competition going on. We compete over everything, even gun laws. Missouri becomes less strict on gun laws. Kansas becomes less strict on gun laws. Now, this would actually have been funny if the guy here said, when she asked him, where did you get that? He responded, the Second Amendment, bitch. Because that's ultimately what this is. What's interesting here is this is not even, I wouldn't even expect to see a rifle like this at a school shooting, because this looks like an FAL, but the front end of it doesn't look kind of like an FAL. It should be an AR-15. And I guess whoever the artist was like, I want to draw something different. So he's drawing some kind of FAL or something like that. And this is important because with an FAL, you have a bigger ammunition, which means your magazine is going to be longer, but it's still going to have to standardize. Okay? You're talking about standard capacity ammunition, which is about 30 rounds of ammo. That's important. You will see that here in a minute. So the response from this dude is not Second Amendment, bitch. His response comes in the next panel. I'm not lying. This is really what he goes. He says, "Shut up. It's too soon to politicize this." I don't even know how are we politicizing this by asking you, where did you get this? It's just Tom Taylor reached out there, picked a whole bunch of random talking points from conservatives and threw them in there to make, see, conservatives a bad guy. He's got thoughts and prayer bullets. He's saying it's too soon to politicize this. The whole thing of being too soon to politicize, the whole argument of that, it's an argument. It's simply conservatives saying it's grandstanding, or a political high ground where they're saying, you know what, we're not out there, we're not standing on the graves of people before they even get cold. Okay, the argument's basically like this. Look, we find somebody a scumbag if a woman's husband dies, and within like 2 seconds of him passing, this guy comes in there and says, "Hey, babe, you want to fuck?" I mean, dude, wait till the body gets cold. At least they don't even wait for it. This is something that they will do constantly. They did this with one shooter. I think he was like a rich black kid, and they were like talking about AR-15s. It was the right and everything else. Then it come out, oh, he's a rich black kid that shot the school up, and the media just went dead quiet. They would not talk. They buried that story so fast. It was hilarious. Some of them even come out and try to say, well, this is the first time that a mass shooter has been black. I'm like, yeah, Chicago, the Bloods and the Crips in Chicago would like to have a word with you. Okay? They kill people over there all the time. They kill people in mass over there all the time. So, second thing, the gun goes off in automatic fashion, which is really dumb, because again, Tom Taylor does not understand the United States, nor does he understand gun culture. He's an Australian. It is hard to get your hands on an automatic weapon in this country. Right now, the whole thing, even with bump stocks, as people talk about, to get bump stocks. No, you're not going to get bump stocks right now, because they just got regulated like machine guns, and people are trying to fight it in court to get their bump stocks back, to make them legal. Most of the bump stocks have been turned in, from what I understand. Really, I don't like the idea of a bump stock. There are things like forced reset triggers and binary triggers that are far more effective, in my opinion, and still legal. Many of them still legal. But this is where Tom Taylor gets really stupid. You can see this is how a shit writer he is. And Superman goes, and as quick as that, my cover is blown. How? How is your cover blown? You're Superman. You're the son of Superman. You're bulletproof. You have super speed. You have heat vision, cold breath. Mind you, this is coming on the heels of a generation of people who are buying these books. Probably have seen Smallville. Probably have seen other Superman shows, and know Superman has heat vision. Superman deals with guns with his heat vision. That's like a cliche of Superman. Heat visioning a gun and making it fall out of someone's hands. That is Superman 101. But no, Tom Taylor doesn't do this. Tom Taylor does the most shit writing you have ever seen right here in terms of action. So Finn takes off, hitting a bunch of these bullets. Mind you, he should have probably caught this kid before. He should have just stopped all this. Mind you, this is Finn has super speed. Clark Kent did this all the time, where someone would come out, get ready to fire. Clark would take off, change into Superman, come down out of nowhere, catch every single bullet, and just drop them right in front of the dude like it was nothing. Didn't even have to use his body. It was more impressive. I mean, Dad is doing a better job and being more impressive than the son, because the son wasn't listening to Dad, clearly. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Brian Michael Bendis completely blew most of Jonathan Kent's probably necessary childhood with Superman, his father, so his dad could impart the wisdom that he has learned over the years and make Jonathan Kent a better Superman than him. That's why we're in this position. But anyway, this is where you see even more shit writing, where even just a monocle of thought, communication, or just editorial nonsense would work. Faster than 67 speeding bullets. Okay. Now, remember when I talked about standard capacity on a rifle? A battle rifle carries a standard capacity anywhere between 20 to 30 rounds of ammunition. At the size of this magazine, I'm going to say this is a 30-round magazine because it goes past the pistol grip. In a .308, which is a pretty big bullet. Superman is... Okay, he has had so much time. This guy has expelled, according to this writing. He has fired off one magazine of 30 rounds, reloaded, fired another magazine of 30 rounds, reloaded, and is 7 rounds into his third magazine. Okay? Here's the thing. Remember when I said about Superman's cliche move of dealing with guns with heat vision? Superman could easily, this would have been so much better, is right before he fires, Superman takes off, Jonathan Kent takes off, super speed, catches the first bullet, heat visions the magazine, cooks it completely off, comes back into position because he's almost as fast as the Flash. No one would see him. These are mortal men. They're not going to see Superman move. Then Jonathan Kent, as this kid has had all of his ammunition cooked off, because contrary to popular belief, the ammunition doesn't just blow up and take off. You need the barrel to contain the explosion so that it will propel the bullet down the barrel. If the bullet, even I think Demolition Ranch did this with microwaving a 50 cal. He just put a 50 caliber round inside of it, like an actual Barrett 50 caliber BMG inside of a microwave, cooked it, it detonated, but the bullet was still attached to the front of the shell casing. It just blew the primer out the back end because that was the weakest link of the ammunition cartridge. You could do this. Jonathan Kent could do this. He could knock out the gun, catch the bullet with super speed, go back to his position, drop the bullet, charge this guy like a normal human being while this punk kid's trying to ratchet the gun and fire the next rounds, and all of them have had their powder expelled. They're not going to fire any more rounds. The red phosphorus in the primer, which sets off the cartridge, that's been blown up. The powder's been burnt out, and suddenly he just tackles him and knocks him to the ground and just, kind of dopey struggles with him until the police come over and pick this kid up. And you could have had this moment where Clark would have said, you are a lot faster on the draw than I am. I would have changed and dropped in. You blew it out. People are wondering what happened to the ammunition casings. He said, other than the ammunition casing being cooked off, like all you'd have to do is just cook off the next one or just superheat the gun till it got hot and burn the kid's hand, or just burn the kid's hand with a little bit of heat. I mean, that's all you have to do. Just stun him long enough that you could run up and grab him, knock him to the ground, and make it look like a raid. Because then your secret identity is secured. But Tom Taylor doesn't want to do that. Tom Taylor does not want secret identity. Doesn't want to have to deal with all that crap. Which honestly would have been good seeing this kid handle. But I mean, in the process, he's got super speed, but somehow this guy empties off is on his third magazine before he even gets close. Before he's on him. But anyway, continuing on. Tackles this kid to the ground. He goes, "What's wrong with you?" Using his x-ray vision, which, mind you, he does exactly what I said. He could just tackle him. You could have done any little thing to have blown this guy off target. You could have just hit him with some super breath right before you jumped in there and blowed him a bit off balance and taken him out. Superman is known for being the Swiss Army knife of superheroes. He's got all these special powers. Tom Taylor manages to just not use any of them. He uses the most... Well, he's invincible. He's got super speed. He's also got heat vision. Damn it. They did this with Supergirl when they were in the Supergirl series. They kept coming up with different... Supergirl could barely keep up with a freaking drone with a propeller on it. But then later on, she had enough super speed to stop a building from falling by throwing a bunch of I-beams in place and within less than an instant. It's like, my God, pick one. She's either slow or she's fast. If you're not going to use that superpower all the time, don't even think about using it. Anyway, he basically stops this kid. Then everyone's looking at him. Yeah, he kind of blew it up. And this is the only part of this that actually makes sense is on the next page. Not this part over here with the stereotypical Asian. Finn, I think you lost this. Yeah, I did. I lost it. Referring to his secret identity in his new life. He lost all of it. Yeah, you lost it because you made stupid decisions. And mind you, no one reprimands him for this stuff. His dad's like later on in the book. I didn't download that page because I'm trying to limit so I don't get copyright strike by DC. But he pretty much, Clark just praises him for that, gives him emotional validation. Oh, I'm so glad you did the right thing, even at the cost of your secret identity. And it's like, that wouldn't have been my dad if he was Superman. My dad would have told me, he's like, yeah, you got like heat vision, super breath, you're fast, so fast people can't even register you moving. Okay, there's no way in hell you should have lost that secret identity. And my dad would have told me, you know what? I'm glad you did something, but next time you can plan stuff out in a millisecond. Try to think a few steps ahead and just be aware of your surroundings, okay? Because sometimes trouble will come to you, son. But no, we didn't do this. But I mean, you see all of these writing mistakes in this scene, and this is not, I mean, the rest of the book is just crazy. It's either drama or pointless crap. And like I said, you can make Superman, you can make a gay person with Superman. And I can tell you exactly why that they've done the gay Superman thing. They've done Superman gay because if you go to any country, okay, any country, go to Chile. Do you know what the word for Superman is? Superman or La Superman? Do you know what the term in Russia for Superman is? Superman. Do you know what they say for Superman in China? Superman. Philippines, Superman. Scotland, Superman. Japan, Superman. Africa, Superman. Chicago, Superman, dude. It does not matter where you go in the world. Superman's name is Superman. It is an English term that across the globe means this one superhero. It is a universal word within every language. The English that's in there has transcended from being an English language to being a universal term for one superhero. And it's the same thing with Batman. It's the same thing with Spider-Man and many other characters. They have done this and made this character bisexual because they think that, well, you know, this character has such brand recognition. We make them bisexual. The world, it will somehow make the world love it. All the while, Tom Taylor is putting out this shit writing on an American character, and he doesn't know anything about American culture. He's pulling things from American culture that he knows nothing about and is completely ignorant on. I'm from Southeast Missouri, and I can tell you, and I'm pointing this crap out. And I do construction most of the time. I don't write for a living. Tom Taylor does this for a living. I don't know how. It must not be hard to get into DC. But anyway, like I said, this is not, making the character gay is not going to make it go anywhere. And making the character gay is not going to get you, it's not going to end the character. What's going to end this book series, and I give it about 20 to 25 issues before they finally cancel it. That 25 will be the maximum. I'm pretty sure about 25 issues, somewhere within this issue and the next up to issue 25, it's either going to get canceled early or it's just going to be canceled because this is not going to make money. It's confusing as hell when you get into it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you've got characters in here that are being asked, where did you get that? And the response from this kid is, shut up, it's too soon to politicize this. Tom King is just grabbing random shit out of the news media off CNN and throwing it in there mixing it up and like, look, insta bad guy. Evil conservative, instant bad guy. And it's not going to work because when you do something like this, you are going to, one, it's kind of a jarring moment for the audience and ruins the immersion. Two, it causes distrust with the audience. And the more you begin to do this, the less people want to spend their money on something that doesn't make any sense. You have to have a certain degree of realism to this. And as the Fourth Age has said, RJ on the Fourth Age says, you're not going to be with these people that do this, these SJWs that write these comic books and do all this stuff. They don't live in a objective reality. They live in a suggestive reality or subjective reality, meaning whatever they decide is reality becomes reality. It's okay for you to listen to, you should listen to your doctor. This is the example that RJ gives. You should listen to your doctor about everything. And when it comes to the COVID vaccine, for instance, you should listen to your doctor until the doctor tells you you're too fat and you need to lose weight. At that point, they don't want to listen to the doctor no more. I'm not saying that they're wrong about COVID. I never said they were wrong about COVID. I'm saying that these people will listen to a doctor when it comes to vaccination statuses. But as soon as the doctor tells them, hey, you know what? You're drastically limiting your life by being overweight. Suddenly the doctor becomes fat phobic and they shouldn't listen to them. They're anti-science. They try to do this with things that are logical, such as mathematics. You see this with math. Math is an exact science, okay? The only reason something fails is because the human being putting it in there is fallible. They're not infallible. You're not a computer. And even with a calculator running your mathematics, if you insert the wrong number or insert the wrong sign, your calculations come out completely wrong. Mathematics is an exact science. You got people who want this to not be exact and have some play with it, trying to go in there and say, oh, it's racist because it's exact. That's the type of people you're dealing with here. And they're bringing this over into writing. And writing, you have to have a certain degree of consistency. And you also have to have a certain degree of consistency with reality. And Tom Taylor clearly does not. Anyway, folks, tell me what you think about this in the comments. I know this is kind of a long video of me, kind of dissecting this little scene here. If people like it, I will do more of it. But I would also like some suggestions if y'all want me to do this more often, because I do have fun doing this stuff. I did like a couple of takes of this, but I've had fun disassembling it mostly, and I may do more of this. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, stay safe, stay frosty. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye now.